Pennsylvania is one of the most hotly contested states in the 2020 election. In 2016, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton by roughly 50,000 votes. That was out of nearly 3 million votes cast. But with 7 weeks left in the campaign, the ballot still hasn't been finalized due to a court challenge, and requests to vote by mail are soaring due to the coronavirus. Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett went to one key county in the state.
Doylestown, the quiet and quaint county seat of Bucks County. Inside its election warehouse, voting equipment for all 304 precincts stretches wall to wall. But all those machines won't get as much use as usual this year because fewer people will vote in person and more will participate by mail.
It's a different world for everybody.
Bob Harvey chairs the Bucks County Board of Elections, charged with making election 2020 work amid a pandemic.
We expected there to be more mail-in ballot applications, but we didn't expect these numbers, and obviously the pandemic ramped everything up.
In 2016, the county had about 20,000 requests for absentee ballots. This year, it is expecting at least 200,000, possibly 250,000.
Are you prepared to process that many mail-in ballots if they all come in?
The challenging part is going to be dealing with, counting them as quickly as we can.
So Bucks County is increasing its election staff from 10 to 25.
These are the scanners.
It had 4 scanners to count absentee ballots. Now it has 10. And it is refurbishing this office to make room for staff and machinery.
This will be absentee and mail-in ballot central.
Tom Freitag is elections director.
There's going to be high-speed scanners over here. We have 10 of them to be able to scan the ballots quickly.
Bucks County bought its new tabulation equipment from Clear Ballot, a company specializing in vote-by-mail technology.
We've actually increased our customer base by 35% during the pandemic.
Hillary Lincoln is vice president of marketing.
75% of our Pennsylvania counties have had to scale their absentee equipment, so we've helped them do that.
Of the 13 states expected to be competitive this fall, Pennsylvania is one of 4 that does not allow the processing of mail-in ballots before Election Day. Processing means opening envelopes, flattening ballots, and preparing them to be scanned for counting. All that takes time.
Basically, any kind of relief to that we can open any earlier would really help us, be it 3 days or 3 weeks, any time would really help.
The Pennsylvania legislature is debating whether to allow processing before Election Day. But without a change to state law, Bucks County expects to be counting mail-in ballots after November 3rd.
Certainly we want to be done before, I would say, within a week.
Even the best case scenario, it's going to be a couple of days.
Yes.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
And Major Garrett joins us now. Major, thanks very much. I know you had an early morning this morning, but let me ask you about Bucks County here. Is it basically all but certain there, in fact, will not be a result in Bucks County, Pennsylvania on November 3rd? And the question I have, could Bucks County decide the election?
Probably not decide the election, but it will be one of the counties that both campaigns will watch very, very closely. And I don't want to say it's absolutely certain that there will not be a result in Bucks County on election night that is at least definable and visible, because the legislature may in fact make some decisions that help Bucks County and all the other counties in Pennsylvania do the things that we raised in this piece, which is process the ballots earlier, not report results, but just get them to run through the scanners properly. Right now, under state law in Pennsylvania, you can't begin that process until Election Day. If you can begin that before, you will be able to scan those ballots, get an accurate count, and be able to report that much, much sooner. There's also a debate in the Pennsylvania legislature about something, Elaine, called curing. And what that means is, let's say there's a mail-in ballot and the signatures don't match, or there's some other problem. Well, under curing, an election official can get in touch with that voter and say, can you help us resolve this particular problem? That curing process could also start before Election Day if they're allowed to open the ballots and take a look at them. So until that is decided, we don't know. There's this great uncertainty over Bucks County and every other county in Pennsylvania. And the legislature is going to have to do something, and the governor's going to have to sign it to resolve some of these underlying issues. Now, to your question, in 2016, Hillary Clinton carried Bucks County by less than 1%. So it was very close then. It could be very close again. If that is repeated in other heavily populated counties in Pennsylvania, and these issues are not resolved, and nobody can start counting or curing or taking care of any of these problems until after Election Day, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 or 7 days before some of these most populous counties, Bucks County is 4th most populous in Pennsylvania, can actually report verified results.
Major, do we know, is there any indication what the chances are that these changes that would allow mail-in ballots to be processed to begin before the election, how likely is that to actually happen?
Well, the Pennsylvania Republican-controlled House has passed a bill that's allowed that to happen. The Senate is responding, and the governor has already said he will veto that Republican bill from the Pennsylvania House. So this is all being sorted out, or attempted to be sorted out. One of the things that the Republicans in the Pennsylvania House said is, yes, we can process the ballots earlier, but we want a less generous time to request absentee ballots. And that's a sticking point. There are several other sticking points. So this is going to be a political decision. You have a Republican legislature and a Democratic governor, and they're going to have to sort this out because these counties, I can tell you, Elaine, want to do it the right way. They want to serve the public. They're buying equipment. They're doing everything that's in their power to get themselves ready. What they need is a set of rules that define dates in which they can set all the things that they're preparing in motion. And if anything gives me confidence, Elaine, about states like Pennsylvania, which are probably going to see a 17-fold increase in mail-in balloting, is that they went through the primary, they learned a lot of things, and they're trying to prepare. And I just want people to think about it this way. These are your neighbors. These are people who live in your communities. They are not archly partisan, based on my experience in calling election officials at the state and local level all over this country. They want to do this the right way. They know it's a great challenge. They know there is so much focus on this election. They're trying to do the right thing, and they're trying to do it the right way. If anything in our hyper-partisan environment gives me any confidence, it's meeting and talking to these people who want to do things the best possible way they can.
That is heartening to hear, Major. So against that backdrop, what kinds of resources are we seeing both the Trump and Biden campaigns putting into the state of Pennsylvania?
Lots of resources, spending money, digital outreach, some door knocking, although that's not nearly as prevalent as it was because of the pandemic. And the Trump campaign finds itself fighting on many, many fronts. Pennsylvania was a surprise victory for the Trump campaign in 2016. They believe they have a fighting chance in Pennsylvania, but Wisconsin doesn't look good. Minnesota doesn't look good. Even Ohio is tightened up. Those numbers indicate that there's going to be stressors in Pennsylvania that the Trump campaign did not encounter in 2016. Certainly Democrats there believe that turnout will be much higher. No one will be sitting on the sidelines, as some Democrats did in 2016, either because they were not motivated by Hillary Clinton or they assumed that she was going to win and their vote really didn't matter. Very few Democrats are going to fall into that category. One last thing, Elaine, that has gotten the attention of both the Biden and the Trump campaigns: there'll be very little voting for third parties this election, not only in Pennsylvania, but across the country. That means it's a one-on-one decision. And so mobilizing your voters is going to be key in every single battleground state, because the alternatives will be very few and not well exercised, as they were in 2016. So lots of votes are up for grab. Mobilization is key, and both campaigns are pouring a lot of resources into Pennsylvania, all the upper Midwest, and many other battleground states, new ones like Georgia and Arizona, to be sure.
All right, Major Garrett. Major, always great to have you. Thank you very much.
Sure.